the western coast of the Thermaikos Gulf lies one of Greece's most important wetlands, the Axios Delta National Park, a unique mosaic of marine, brackish and river systems and of vast stretches of crops that provide hundreds of species of wild flora and fauna a dwelling to feed and reproduce. The national park begins just 10 kilometers southwest of Thessaloniki and stretches out all the way to Pieria, covering an expanse of 33,800 hectares. It includes the Kalahari Lagoon, the estuaries of Gallikos River, the Axios Delta, Loudias River, Aliakmonas Delta, the Nea Agathoupouli Wetland, and the Aliki Kytrous Lagoon. Through the centuries, the area has undergone major changes. For example, up until the 5th century, Pella and Skidra were coastal towns. The rivers constantly transformed the area, forming lakes through perpetual sedimentation. One such example is today's drained lake of Yanitsa. Major land reclamation works were carried out in the 1920s and 1930s. In order to protect the port of Thessaloniki, which was at risk of being closed up by the debris carried by the Axios River, the riverbed was transferred a few kilometers further south of its natural flow. The Kalahari Lagoon was created in the 1960s due to constant ground subsidence, and the embankment constructed to protect the settlement against flooding. Let us begin our journey here. The northern gate of the national park is the Kalahari Lagoon, a coastal wetland of particular interest which is home to large numbers of birds. At the estuaries of Gallikos River, which springs from the Krousia mountain range in Kilkis, the sand extractions created a system of small artificial lakes bustling with life, as they are home to coots, pygmy cormorants, herons, ducks, as well as frogs, turtles, and dozens of insect species. One will also find water buffaloes here, cooling off in the river's water. The Gallikos River Environmental Park offers its visitors bird observatories, trails, and rest areas. Axios, the largest river running across Macedonia, is the Thermaikos Gulf's primary supplier of fresh water and debris. In spring and summer, thousands of breeding pairs flock there to reproduce. Among them little egrets, squacko herons, grey herons, common spoonbills, night herons, pygmy cormorants, and glossy ibises. This is one of the largest mixed bird colonies in Greece. One can observe the colony from the wooden observatory on Axios eastern river bed. Further north of Axios River lies one of the last sections of the riparian forest. Willows, poplars, and alders leisurely dip their branches into the river. Its meadows and islands are home to herds of wild horses, which are the ancestors of horses abandoned in the region by farmers in the early 1960s following the mechanization of farming. Today, following the drainage of the Yanitsa Lake, Loudias is essentially a 40-kilometer-long artificial canal. Its estuaries, like the estuaries of Axios, feature a landmark for the region and attraction for visitors: the traditional wooden huts and boats of fishers and mussel farmers. Aliakmonas springs from the Gramos mountain range and is the longest river in the country. Its vast delta cannot be easily accessed by humans, and therefore it provides refuge to many animal and bird species, among them the largest eagle in Europe, the white-tailed eagle. South of the Aliakmonas Delta lies the Negev wetland, which is known for gathering thousands of ducks, especially in winter. The observatory there offers an amazing view of the wetland, the Thermaikos Gulf and the Aliakmonas Delta. Visitors have the opportunity to observe rare bird species through binoculars and telescopes. And there are also bicycles available for rides along the cycling trail. In the southernmost section of the national park, the Kalahari Lagoon has been producing salt since ancient times and is home to large numbers of wading birds which feed over winter and reproduce there. Dunes stretch out between the sea and Kalahari Lagoon. This area is highly significant for reptile fauna and for the protection of the hinterland against erosion and flooding. This zone has recorded the largest populations of the Mediterranean tortoise in Europe, as well as the densest populations of the species in the world. Here too, one will encounter the sea daffodil, a plant that is protected by national legislation. 350 plant species and subspecies have been recorded in the Axios Delta National Park. The character of the area's vegetation is constantly changing based on the seasonal cycle of the water and salinity in every habitat. In areas with high salt concentrations, one can observe the growth of halophytes and tamarisks, while in the parts where fresh water prevails, fields of rushes spread out in all directions. The ponds, intricate canals, trenches, and dense reeds serve as the ideal refuge for water birds, fish, water snakes, and turtles. More than 40 mammal species live in the national park. These include the otter, 13 bat species, the European ground squirrel which lives in burrows, as well as the koipu which escaped from fur farms and spread out through the years by following the water trails of the northern Greek wetlands. The protected area's reptile fauna includes 18 recorded species of reptiles and 9 species of amphibians. Included among these are the Mediterranean tortoise and the Greek tortoise. Also coexisting in the lakes and canals scattered throughout the area are the two turtles, the shy European pond turtle and the more outgoing Balkan pond turtle. The national park boasts an abundance of ichthyofauna, thanks to the dynamic provided by the diverse water bodies in the area, combining fresh, salt and brackish water, which offers the fish ample food and a hospitable refuge. Although river fishing was far more widespread in the past, today carp and catfish constitute the main fishing populations. However, the most important and most impressive element of the park's fauna is its birds. Up until today, 295 bird species have been observed, which is more than 2/3 of the species that have been recorded throughout Greece. Many of these are rare and endangered, which is the main reason why it was designated as a protected area and is considered a site of international ornithological importance. Why do birds prefer this area? Looking at the park from high above, one notices that the estuaries of the four rivers form one of the largest unified coastal regions in the country, a large wetland complex without any cities, villages and streets. In the reproduction season from April to June, dozens of bird species find a safe refuge here to build their nests. At the coastal marshes, one finds avocets, stone curlews and Kentish plovers. The reed beds are home to purple herons, little bitterns and reed warblers. Along the coastal zone reproduce waders such as black-winged stilts with their characteristic long red legs, oyster catchers and the collared pratincoll, as well as gulls and terns. The islets of the Axios and Aliakmonas deltas are the only reproduction sites in the whole of Greece of the protected slender-billed gull. The Axios is the main migration route on the north-south axis for many bird species. During the migration season in spring and autumn, thousands of wading birds make a stop at the delta to rest and seek food. Among them are black-tailed godwits, lapwings and marsh sandpipers. However, not all birds migrate. Many bird species spend the winter at the national park. These include the pygmy cormorant, the great egret, the Dalmatian pelican, the spotted eagle, ducks and swans. The protected area of the Axios Ludias Aliakmonas Delta also offers the human population services and goods of vital importance, known as ecosystem services. It protects inhabited and rural areas against flooding. It regulates the climate, offers precious water, products for food, as well as opportunities for research, education and recreation. Since antiquity, man has benefited from the goods yielded by this fertile land. The water of these four rivers is a source of life. Agriculture, livestock farming and fishing are the main production activities of the area's inhabitants. The rich soil of the largest plain in the country, the plain of Thessaloniki, produces 70 to 80% of the nation's rice. The flooded rice fields serve as artificial wetlands in the most crucial period for the reproduction of birds. This is also where 80% of the country's mussels are produced, and where the second largest salt production plant in the country, Aliki Kytrus, is located. The area of the Axios Delta is protected by the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands and also belongs to the Natura 2000 European Network of Protected Areas. In 2009, it was classified as a national park with 4 protection zones. It also includes 4 wildlife refuges. The Axios Ludias Aliakmonas Delta Management Authority, which is based in Halastra, was established in 2003 in order to protect and manage the national park. The authority's main objective is to manage the protected area with the aim of preserving its ecosystems and biodiversity and ensuring that human activities are compatible with the natural environment. The authority's strategic management plan gives priority to the supervision and guarding of the area, the monitoring of biodiversity, the environmental consultation on projects implemented within the national park, and the implementation of actions in order to reduce threats to biodiversity. The authority focuses its efforts on information and awareness-raising actions intended for the local community and visitors, on environmental education, the promotion of ecotourism, and sustainable development in the wider area. It also carries out ecotours, information actions, and events, its main event being the annual cleaning campaign, which is held every spring. At only a stone's throw away from the large urban centers, the National Park of the Axios Delta offers its visitors facilities such as the new Upali Bird Observatory in Pieria and the National Park Information Center in Halastra, which welcome thousands of school pupils every year to give them a tour of the protected area. We invite you to visit one of the most important national parks in the country. Discover the magic of nature and join forces with us to protect them.